you may have been having this question of, I've been doing all this work and I can't figure out why I still feel stuck or I'm not as far ahead as I thought I would be. And this is a great challenge that comes up for lots of people, and I've had this in my own life as well. And we want to kind of look at how we address this in our programs and some of our philosophy around it.
Mm-hmm. Because it really seems like when you've done a lot of reading, you've taken programs, it feels like it really should be making a big difference. And so as we've looked at it, we've come up with what we call a growth triangle. And that there's 3 key elements that are needed in order for us to really get the leverage to really move forward.
Yeah, so the 3 elements or pieces of the growth triangle is, 1, the bottom is the knowledge, and then the other side is the experience, and then the third side is integration. And we're going to kind of talk about each 3 of these and then give an example.
Yeah, and that without all 3 sides, it does not hold together. And so with the knowledge, I think that's been your favorite thing.
Right.
Is gaining more knowledge, learning more. And both of us love to learn. How could knowledge, be a problem, or is there a problem with knowledge?
Yeah, knowledge for me was a real trap. Mm-hmm. I mean, the very beginning of my personal development, I was taking so many programs and reading dozens of books and literally just going from program to program to program and thinking like, oh, I'm learning all this great stuff. And I was.
Yes.
And I eventually realized this is actually a trap. I'm just learning, but I'm not growing for some reason.
Yeah.
That's been fundamental under us looking at how we've designed our programs to help people go from knowledge to experience and integration.
And surprisingly, it seems like sometimes knowledge can actually be information we can't absorb and use in the present. And I remember for me, one example was going to Byron Katie's workshop and hearing an amazing idea, which I realized later. She said, if you're fully in the present, there are no more decisions to make. When I first heard that, I thought, wow, I can't even imagine that. It made no sense at all. And in fact, took 2 years before I could really understand that incredible concept. So that knowledge was ahead of me. It was further down the road than where I was at that particular moment. So we're really aware in our programs of making sure the knowledge matches where people are at, that they've got the foundational pieces they need.
Yeah, and this is it with knowledge. You pointed out 2 examples there of unhelpful knowledge that's too advanced for you, or knowledge that is too much knowledge, too much information, exactly. Right? And so helpful knowledge, the flip side, is meeting you where you're at, and also helpful knowledge can help you kind of lay out a bit of a map of where you're trying to go and where you are.
Right.
So those ways knowledge is powerful and helpful. However, knowledge on its own won't bring lasting change. It won't bring real growth. You need to take the knowledge and go to the next step, and that is take action with the knowledge, implement the knowledge in some way. This is the experience of the knowledge.
That's right. The experience side of the triangle is so critical. We need to feel it. We need to be absorbed in the experience. It's got to lock in, not just at the head level, but in the body, a visceral experience. Now, lots of times we do get experience. We get an amazing experience, be it spiritual or a high intensity learning context. You take a weekend or whatever. So you get a lot of knowledge and experience compressed into a very short amount of time. And one of the things we've realized is we need experience over time. We need to be teaching ourselves and showing ourselves that we have the skill. We're using the knowledge and we're applying it.
Yeah, exactly. This experience really, like you're saying, needs consistency. It needs discipline. It needs motivation. It takes effort. And with all of that, we start to get a lot of practice.
Yeah.
In that practice, the experience starts to really digest into us to some level. And as it starts that, we start moving now to the third part of integration.
Yeah.
Integration is when that knowledge and that experience starts to become you.
Mm-hmm.
And typically this happens or one way I guess it happens, is to reflect on the practicing I've been doing, the experiences that you've been doing, and how they've worked well, and what parts you would want to do again, and what parts you might want to shift or change.
Yeah. If you're wondering if you've integrated something, a piece of knowledge or experience, one of the ways to tell is, could you share it with someone? Can you talk about it specifically about what has shifted? What's a pattern you've noticed that you're now doing differently, etc. If you can't put it into words, it's often an indicator that you're still in process, you're still integrating.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've heard this word used many times around grokking, like really understanding something. And that grokking is what really someone who's integrated it can really do.
Yeah.
They really viscerally got the experiences them part of themselves and how they kind of show up almost unconsciously and more and more effortlessly.
Yeah.
Those are great signs of integration. So what does this look like if I were to give an example?
I know you've got a good one, and I think it's great for this time of year especially.
Perfect for this time of year.
Yeah.
So I had a client who was looking forward to Christmas dinner, and they were sharing with me some of the stress about it. And they were like, I really don't know what the other family members are doing, if they're going to come or not come. And I know it's so expensive, all the turkey, ham, and all this. It's a big expense for me. And then it's also stressful for me to cook all of this stuff and prepare all these things and get it ready. And you know what? I just realized if they come for dinner, it's fine. If they don't come, I'm fine.
I see.
But now the client's kind of stuck because really, they don't really want nobody to show up.
Right. So you're hearing all of the challenges, and then kind of and whatever happens is fine.
Right.
Which I call a default kind of answer.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm using the triangle, and I realized to meet this person where they're at, they need some new knowledge that can help them see where they're stuck. So kind of the map idea. So I shared with him, I said, let's look at what's happening and, where you want to be going. So information here that's helpful for you is when you're clear what you want and you're specific about it, now you have something to orient towards or go towards. So I helped him notice that he was focusing on problems, focusing on other people, and focusing on what he didn't want.
Right.
So let's shift now to get a clear picture of what you do want.
Yeah, that's so critical. And people, I think, often have been trained not to really ask for what they want or not to get clear because they don't want to be disappointed. And what we're saying is it's absolutely the first step. Just getting clear on what you want is critical. It doesn't always mean you'll get it, but it guarantees you won't if you don't get clear.
Right. And so the next step then is to experience. So what I did is I invited him to close his eyes and visualize the ideal picture of Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
And so I'm giving him a felt experience. And he closed his eyes and he went in and imagined this ideal Christmas dinner, and his whole body shifted. His whole, you get to see when he told me he's now excited and sitting up more straight, more erect. And he's like, well, everybody comes for Christmas dinner. The whole family is there. And we have turkey and we have ham and there's this big spread of food. It's a feast. And some of the people brought dishes, so I didn't have to cook everything. Everybody was helping out and contributing to dinner. And then I see us playing games and lots of laughter. It's just the best Christmas dinner ever. And so that's the first part of experiencing it for him in that moment was, could he have a felt experience? Could he imagine it?
That's right. And so when he gets that felt experience, now he's in a position actually to take another action, which is to put out the request, to start to check with people. But if you don't feel the excitement of what you want, then when we make a request does anybody maybe want to possibly come? That kind of request is so weak that it doesn't carry any of the excitement and the energy, and people won't respond accordingly.
Yeah, and it also that kind of passive way of doing that, it doesn't feel like they really want it.
Right.
So I don't know if they really want it or not. Maybe they feel obligated to have Christmas dinner. So the next adding to experience now was for him to now, how do you express this? So then he expressed to the family what he wanted. And lo and behold, the family responded very positively. Of course, they all want to come, then that picture matches theirs. Some people in the family, one of the groups was actually going to someone else's for dinner. So they switched it to go to the extended family for breakfast and come to his place for dinner. It worked out wonderfully. So this is where the client gets to practice, or the person gets to practice experiencing that knowledge.
Yeah.
And now we start to move to the third part of the triangle, in integration.
Right. And integration is really where you want to put it all together. You want to be able and reflect on, this is what I learned, this is what I did, and this is what made a difference. You're really teaching yourself and building your skills.
Once somebody starts to learn this, they use it in other areas of their life. So this put him in a position now for other events like birthday or other occasions where he can be clear about what he wants and then take steps or actions towards it. Again, this starts adding to the digested, integrated part.
Yeah.
Because it's mapping over to other areas.
And that's really what is so empowering, is when we feel like we can make a difference. We can change, we can create the kind of life that we really want. And so now he's got a template for that.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the 3 stages or the 3 sides of the triangle: knowledge, experience, and integration. Without all 3, lasting change won't happen or real growth won't happen.
And so all of our programs, as we've said, we build in all 3 sides of the triangle. And we're really tailoring knowledge so that people get the foundation that they need to really move forward, get the leverage to make the kinds of changes and transformation that they're after.
Absolutely. And the reason our programs are set up over a timeline, like our Inner Balance is 4 weeks, Discovery is 9 weeks, Inner Peace is 3 months, is because of that experience and integration stage. And once we get the knowledge each week, we have to go practice it in our daily lives and reflect on it and learn and be supported around it.
Yeah, and I like that you said supported, because to me, growth can be a lonely journey. And when we feel like we have colleagues and we have others that are on this journey, it feels more supported. So that's a big factor for us, is having people feel that kind of community and support.
Definitely. So our motto is transforming you transforms our world. We know that's absolutely true. We live it in our own lives all the time.
We look forward to you joining us, whether you've taken one program or not. We'd love you to check us out at ourworldtransform.com.